Good day. Welcome to First Take exclusively on YouTube. We're going to continue the conversation from First Take on television, our live show right here for you guys at YouTube. Hey, Stephen A. The Warriors held their media day yesterday, and Draymond Green was back in the headlines. Draymond coming off a drama-filled season in which he was suspended twice. Now, despite this, he didn't shy away from this back and forth with a reporter.
You know people worry about you. Fans, maybe your teammates.
Why they worry about me?
Well,
I am a successful black man in America doing incredibly well. What's the worry
They
about
worry
me?
about you.
There are way more people in this world to worry about than me, that's for sure.
But we're here now. So
We're all here. I don't think you should worry about me.
okay.
I'm doing pretty well. If you would have told me when I was 13 years old in Saginaw, Michigan, without a pot to piss in, that you'd be sitting here and somebody would say they're worried about you, I would have probably told them they were out of their mind. I'd be sitting here and they'd be worried about me.
Well, they're worried from themselves too. They want to know.
They don't feed.
They
them
know the
families with
team
this,
needs
so
you.
why are they worried?
Because they know the team needs you.
But they don't feed
and
them.
they don't know if
their
you're going to be
families
here.
doing this. I'm here. I've been here for 13 years now.
If you're going to be here every night.
Been here pretty much every night for 13 years.
Not so.
Very much so. We all have. Look, Kevon Looney played 82 games 2 years in a row, and everybody was celebrating. We all miss games.
No, what I'm talking about, they want to know if you're going to be here, like, mentally.
I'm always here. And suspensions, the guideline of getting suspended is something that's in place because it's a possibility. So
Nothing changed in that respect.
I don't know what would change. Well, I don't get the question. I think my mindset has helped us do some great things. That's pretty cool. So it's all about how you spin it. I love how you try and spin it, but it ain't my spin to it, player. So yeah, it's good.
What I'd love to know is who they is. Stephen A., what did you think of this exchange?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I was very uncomfortable with the question. I'm guessing, I did not see the reporter, didn't know his name, but I'm guessing it was a white man asking him that question. And I think that one of the things that rubs a lot of black people, particularly black men, the wrong way is when you come to them and you try to imply a problem is bigger than what it is because they tend to get emotional. Like, for example, Molly, I'm screaming A, so I must be angry, but white folks get loud and all of that stuff, and they're passionate and they're energized. These are the kind of things that come along with us being black men, and I think that when you listen to Draymond Green, that's basically what he was saying to some degree. What are you talking about being worried about me? He's not breaking any laws. He's not in the streets running around. He's not conducting himself like an uncivilized human being or anything like that. Does he need to control himself when it comes to those suspensions? Sure, absolutely, because he's going to be a target for the referees because he's got to learn how to cool it down. That's fine. They were 11 games above 500 when he was on the court. They were 1 game below 500 when he was off the court. So that amounted to like a 12-game difference. I understand that. You can legitimately argue that had he not gotten suspended, the Golden State Warriors would have been in the playoffs. But still in all, you got to be very, very careful when it comes to the verbiage that you approach a proud black man with, considering with the challenges everybody faces in our society, but particularly black men. This is why when Kevin Durant came out and said what he said about Draymond Green, when he said, I hope he gets the help that he needs and stuff like that, I went ballistic about that because I was like, you don't bring that kind of attention to Draymond Green or anybody else, for that matter, unless you're sure about that. You don't make that kind of implication. And you're on the court, you're competing at a high level. People rely on your passion and your fire. You're the Golden State Warriors. You want him to remain under control enough not to get suspended, but you want that energy, that fervor, that passion, because it galvanizes the Golden State Warriors, and the proof is in the pudding because they won 4 championships over 8 years and went to the finals 6 times. And so because of it, evidently it worked for them to some degree. You can't turn around and then look at him and say, well, people are worried about you. What the hell does that mean? What are you trying to imply? Worried about what? Because it took on a greater connotation rather than just basketball. And that's what Draymond was saying, and I stand totally by him in that regard. I think it was wrong to phrase the question that way.
And I also feel like, Stephen A., it's the worst day you could ask it. Media day, the beginning of a brand new season. It's like, if you wanted to ask that in the midst of everything happening, but you're trying to start a new year fresh, I just feel like the timing is also off.
I won't go that far. What I mean, how you phrase the question matters. But if he had asked the question, well, Draymond, you were suspended twice last year. You realize those 2 suspensions arguably cost the Golden State Warriors a playoff berth. What have you learned from that? What should we expect to see from you differently this year than we saw last year so that doesn't happen? That's a fair question.
Yeah,
even
but it
on
wasn't
media
phrased that way.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. The way the question was phrased took on an entirely different connotation that I dare say was far more offensive.
Yep, exactly.
So as you see, it hasn't been the best for Draymond Green when it comes to coming into this next season. It's already gotten off to a bit of a weird start. But when it comes to actually his game and what he's been able to provide for the Golden State Warriors, I do have to disagree with the reporter to some extent. So there are 2 reasons to this. I do believe when it comes to Draymond Green, he definitely has had his fair share of a little bit of controversial efforts. We definitely have seen him when it came to the Jordan Poole situation. It actually led to Jordan Poole leaving the Golden State Warriors due to the fact that the chemistry just wasn't there. A lot of people have been rumored, or it has been rumored, that the reason why Kevin Durant left was because of Draymond Green. So there definitely are a lot of accusations being thrown around, and I think some of it is somewhat true. Do not get me wrong in that sense. But when it comes to Draymond Green, he definitely still provides a lot for this team that I think no one really does understand. When we actually saw throughout not just last season but even the season before, the times that Draymond Green wasn't playing, that's when actually the Golden State Warriors struggled the most, and they actually had one of the worst records when Draymond Green was out. So it definitely does go to show that Draymond Green definitely does still provide something for this team even at 34 years old. I think that's something that needs to be considered, especially when looking at the Golden State Warriors and the new roster that they have now. Now, when we look at Draymond Green last season, he did a pretty solid job. Now, the stats may not show it, but he did average 8.7 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. So he did a fantastic job there. So I think Draymond Green coming into his next season, we actually could see him average a little bit more when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists. Now, Klay Thompson isn't the same position, but we think with Klay Thompson now out, moved on to none other than the Dallas Mavericks, which I think is going to be a great season for him. I think Draymond Green is definitely going to get a slightly bigger role, but the Golden State Warriors definitely have got some extra pieces in order to really make that happen. Now, some of the extra pieces that we definitely need to mention is Buddy Hield. We all know Buddy Hield was a great player, when it came to his last season playing with Philly and also Indiana. But now that he is stepping into a Golden State Warriors uniform, I think it is definitely going to be a sight to see, because he can definitely provide a lot for this team, more than you can actually handle. When we look at someone like Buddy Hield, he definitely has done a fantastic job, throughout the season, last season. But I think coming into this next season, we definitely are going to see him be kind of the second Splash Brothers. So he's definitely going to have a lot more shots at the ring. He shot 43% from the 3, which was honestly fantastic. And if he does keep that usage rate at the same, and also the efficiency at the same, I definitely see it being a big plus coming into this next, season. So when it comes to Buddy Hield, definitely keep an eye out for him. I think he's going to have a little bit, I wouldn't say all-star type season, but he definitely will surprise a lot of you, but I do believe so for sure. Now, another big name that definitely comes into, into fruition is definitely Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson, we all know, has been great throughout his season with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He also helped them get really far in the playoffs, and he had some big games in that matchup. And although slow-mo, as I do call him, definitely has a bit of an unorthodox style of play, I do believe Kyle Anderson can definitely provide a lot for this team, especially when it comes to the points, rebs, and assists, categories. I think he'll be able to provide a lot for this team in all facets, and he should be able to really help them get to that next level and really make it consistent, especially when it comes to being off the bench. Kyle Anderson did play that 6-man role last season with Minnesota. I think that's a big reason why the Golden State Warriors actually picked him up. They were looking for that player that can be that 6-man, that can be that extra, that extra umph off the bench. And I think Kyle Anderson can definitely be that guy. So, keep an eye out for Kyle Anderson. I definitely see, him having himself a really great season coming into this one. So when it comes all in all, I think the Golden State Warriors do have a great lineup, but I do believe Draymond Green definitely needs to fix that before it goes on any further. He doesn't want, or I don't think any Golden State Warriors fans want any issues when it comes to Draymond Green and the rest of the team, maybe certain players. And I think the unison needs to be there if they want a shot at winning another NBA championship.